My name is Hamse Daabjeerin and you are watching the Security Update. These are the stories making the headlines in this episode. African Union plans joint technical assessment for next phase of troop withdrawal. US airstrikes killed 10 Al-Shabaab members in Somalia. Sudan shuts airspace to traffic until July 31st. UN chief condemns airstrike that killed at least 22 people in Sudan. Welcome to the program. The African Union has announced that its intention is to conduct a joint technical assessment in August to facilitate the next stage of the drawdown, involving the withdrawal of 3,000 AU troops by the end of September. The African Union has announced that its intention is to conduct a joint technical assessment in August to facilitate the next stage of the drawdown, involving the withdrawal of 3,000 AU troops by the end of September. Following a 4-day visit to Somalia, a delegation from the AU concluded its evaluation of the initial phase of the planned troop withdrawal, affirming its successful completion at the conclusion of June. Leading the delegation was Al-Haj Sarjoba, the Director of Conflict Management within the Political Affairs, Peace and Security Department. In a statement, PA expressed his satisfaction with the ongoing cooperation and unity of purpose observed during this critical period. During their visit, the AU delegation engaged in discussions with the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, the government of Somalia, the United Nations and various international partners, focusing on the transition process in place. Furthermore, the team deliberated on the necessary measures to effectively implement the next phase of the drawdown in accordance with the requirements outlined in the new UN Security Council Resolution 2687. This phase entails the additional withdrawal of 3,000 ATMIS troops. The AU remains committed to a comprehensive and well-coordinated approach involving close collaboration with all relevant stakeholders to ensure the successful and smooth execution of the troop withdrawal in Somalia, according to ATMIS officials. The African Union Transition Mission in Somalia has assured that the ongoing troop withdrawal will not compromise the security and stability of Somalia. Mohammed Al-Amin, the special representative of the chairperson of the AU Commission for Somalia and head of ATMIS, emphasizing the mission's unwavering dedication to facilitating a smooth and effective transition process that prioritizes the safety of the Somali people. The African Union Transition Mission in Somalia has assured that the ongoing troop withdrawal will not compromise the security and stability of Somalia. Mohammed Al-Amin Saouf, the special representative of the chairperson of the AU Commission for Somalia and head of ATMIS, emphasized the mission's unwavering dedication to facilitating a smooth and effective transition process that prioritizes the safety of the Somali people. Al-Amin reiterated that the ATMIS remains fully committed to ensuring the security of the Somalia and expressed optimism regarding the forthcoming phase of a Somalia-led offensive. According to the official, this offensive aims to further weaken Al-Shabaab, reinforce stabilization efforts, and bring about the liberation of additional communities. In compliance with UN Security Council resolutions 2628 and 2670, which call for a gradual transfer of security responsibilities from ATMIS to Somalia security forces, the mission successfully handed over 7 military bases and withdrew 2,000 troops by June 30. The ATMIS plan is to withdraw an additional 3,000 troops by September, paving the way for the Somalia forces to assume overall security responsibilities by December 31st, 2024. The ATMIS acknowledges the significance of this transition and remains steadfast in its commitment to a stable and secure Somalia. The mission looks forward to supporting the Somalia security forces in their efforts to maintain peace and protect the well-being of their fellow citizens in the coming months and beyond. According to the Ministry of Information of Somalia, over 40 Al-Shabaab members, including leaders, were killed in an aerial and ground attack by the Somali National Army, with international support in Welmaru, a town 40 kilometers away from Afmadow in the lower Juba region of Somalia, on Sunday morning.
According to the Ministry of Information of Somalia, over 40 Al-Shabaab members, including leaders, were killed in an area and ground attack by the Somalia National Army (SNA) with international support in Wemaru, a town 40 kilometers away from Afmado in the lower Juba region of Somalia, on Sunday morning. The attack, which took place at dawn, targeted a hideout where the Al-Shabaab members were gathering and a weapons depot belonging to them. The Somalia National Armed Forces, supported by airstrikes from international partners, were able to destroy the hideout and depot, as well as kill over 40 militants, including several high-ranking leaders, the statement added. The SNA and its international partners have been stepping up their operations against Al-Shabaab in recent months in an offensive to eradicate the group. The state news agency reported that the latest attack in a significant blow to Al-Shabaab and is a clear indication of the SNA's determination to defeat the group.
United Nations and African Union have announced their collaborative efforts alongside other international partners to facilitate the smooth transition of security responsibilities from the African Transition Mission in Somalia to Somalia National Army. United Nations and African Union have announced their collaborative efforts alongside other international partners to facilitate the smooth transition of security responsibilities from the African Transition Mission in Somalia to the Somalia National Army. During a meeting between UN representative Catriona Leng and officials from the AU Peace and Security Department led by Director of Conflict Management Sergio Bah, the shared commitment of both organizations to support the transition process was emphasized. The AU reconfirmed its unwavering dedication to assisting Somalia in its security transition, highlighting its significant contributions to promoting peace and stability and governance through ATMIS. Furthermore, the AU expressed its strong determination to work closely with the UN and other international partners to establish a sustainable and efficient security framework in Somalia. Both parts acknowledged the significance of an inclusive approach, community engagement, and the upholding of human rights throughout the security transition process. The Sudanese airspace stays closed until the end of July, with only humanity and evacuation flights being allowed to fly with authorization from the government. But we will be back after the short break.
Making documentaries is one of the most creative craft and challenging endeavors you can be involved in. It is an effective strategy to inform, persuade, educate, defend the perspective, and shed light on various issues, policies, and activities. At CBA TV, documentary production is our forte. We capture every TikTok detail of events in highest resolution to tell the story you care about, from politics to human hunger, research-based content, educative and informative. We also help you project your story in a dynamic perspective that attracts the world views of the target audience, as there is no better or more powerful way to place the organization's values and achievements than to make an excellent documentary film. No doubt, our strength lies in these ventures, and we pride in many award-winning documentaries which have been earning accolades across Africa and beyond. Let's tell your story.
Welcome back again. The Sudanese airspace stays closed until the end of July, with only humanity and evacuation flights being allowed to fly with authorization from the government.
Sudan's Civil Aviation Authority says the country's airspace will remain shut until the end of July, with exception of humanitarian relief and evacuation flights with appropriate approval. Khartoum International Airport stated this on Monday as fighting continues in the country. Sudanese airspace was blocked to regular travel in mid-April when a military battle started between the country's army and the rival paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Fighting reached another height after an airstrike killed no fewer than 22 people. On Saturday, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres condemned the attack and called for long-term ceasefire. Despite several attempts by Saudi Arabia, the United States, the United Nations, the African Union, and the East African Bloc IGAD to broker a lasting ceasefire, violence has continued and even flared up in Darfur, North Kordovan, South Kordovan, and the Blue Nile, and also in the capital, Khartoum. Leaders from IGAD states, including Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia, and South Sudan, will meet in Addis Ababa later on Monday to discuss the ongoing crisis in Sudan. Sudan's Army Head Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and RSF Commander General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo have been invited. The two parties have not confirmed their appearance at the peace parley. Approximately 3 million people have been internally and externally displaced since the fighting started in Sudan, according to the United Nations. The country's Federal Health Ministry also said at least 1,133 people have been killed in the conflict, which has erupted in the capital as well as other main cities. Kamil Sadiq, CBA TV.
The UN Secretary General has condemned a fresh airstrike that reportedly led to the killing of dozens of people in Sudan. The UN post called for cessation of hostilities while appealing to the army and a rival paramilitary forces to commit to a long-term peace deal.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has denounced the airstrike that reportedly killed at least 22 people in Sudan on Saturday. According to a statement released on Sunday, the Secretary General expressed outrage by report of widespread violence and casualties in Sudan's Darfur region. Sudan's army killed at least 22 people and injured several others in an airstrike in western Omdurman city on Saturday, according to the Khartoum State Health Ministry, as the country's military conflict entered its 12th week. Guterres renewed his appeal to the Sudanese Armed Forces and the rival Rapid Support Forces RSF to cease fighting and commit to a long-term ceasefire. Tensions between the Sudanese army and RSF had grown in the month leading up to the war over the chain of command and integration of their forces under a new transition to democracy. According to the Federal Ministry of Health, at least 1,133 people have been killed in the conflict, which has erupted in the capital as well as the Kordovan and Darfur areas, igniting ethnic unrest in West Darfur states. More than 2.9 million people have been displaced, with roughly 700,000 people fleeing to neighboring nations since the conflict started. Kamil Sadiq, CBA TV.
U.S. Africa Command's airstrikes in Somalia have resulted in the death of 10 members belonging to Al-Shabaab, as confirmed by the Defense Department. According to a statement issued by U.S. Africa Command, the operation was conducted in response to a request made by the federal government of Somalia. U.S. Africa Command's airstrikes in Somalia have resulted in the death of 10 members belonging to Al-Shabaab, as confirmed by the Defense Department. According to a statement issued by U.S. Africa Command, the operation was conducted in response to a request made by the federal government of Somalia. 3 collective self-defense airstrikes were carried out during the night in a remote vicinity near Afmadough, situated approximately 105 kilometers north of Kismayo, targeting the Al-Shabaab faction. A joint evaluation performed by the Somali National Army and U.S. Africa Command has determined that 10 individuals affiliated with Al-Shabaab were eliminated as a result of the airstrikes. The assessment also confirms that no civilian casualties occurred during the operation. The U.S. Africa Command states that Al-Shabaab, recognized as the largest and most active Al-Qaeda network globally, had previously held significant control over expansive regions of Somalia. However, government counter-offensives conducted last year curtailed their influence, as government officials have reported. And with that, the story of the U.S. Africa Command's airstrikes in Somalia resulted in the death of 10 members belonging to Al-Shabaab, as confirmed by the Defense Department. We'll wrap up our program for this time. Thank you very much for being with us. My name is Hamse Daabjeerin.